So what's up? I just want to share a friend something. Um, get this camera on. HD. Load an advert.
What we were needing in a home was a blank canvas that we could make our own.
Yoink. I'm streaming this to record my struggles. Not do some other stuff. Storage space. Oh wait, there's a bit of a delay over here. I'm not streaming that. So now I see you are online. No, man, can you see my title? It's not even tagged under gaming. I just call it web and graphics dev, but it's actually just graphics. But I'm going to work on this website, so if you wanted to tag along, I know you're interested in that, and I can maybe help you with your stuff if you like. You can hit me up with questions. If we need something more real time than this delayed YouTube chat story, then um, you can do it on WhatsApp or on Discord. It's easy. So what you're seeing here was me. Well, I had to go eat and I was distracted and I had to do a million of other things, the pool and then gardening and water planting. And I just wanted to do Vian's bloody thing. He just, the fucking message. I thought this was fixed. Okay, let's just close it. Learn more, and then it's gonna go away. Yes, I'm just gonna close it because there is maybe another fix. That was one of the distractions because I had to update this thing. I had to go download a bunch of new software because nobody can afford Adobe's ridiculous per month pricing shit. And I'm a student, it's fine. Or I'm just testing the software, something like that. Um, I just want to fix my camera here quickly. I'm just seeing it's lopsided here. It was fixed now, but it unfixed itself. Yoink. And that guy could just go away for now. Come on, why are you doing that to me now? Hey, Eddie. Scary Eddie. What up? Do you need some homework assistance? I have to flip this thing. This is so counterintuitive. I bet you the answer is horizontal, but then it does it vertical. But it's because on the camera on the phone, I flipped it both ways. It is really our sync, or it's just wrong. It should just be correct. Vertical like this. This is not. Vertical is like this, not like this. On this axis like this. Anyway. See, I smoke even while I'm not playing games. Now why can this thing drag this thing? Yeah, there we go. So the ADHD struggle is, I actually started this thing now, but I wanted to make this thumbnail for the stream, so I didn't get to do the work I was supposed to do, and then I had to go eat. So anyway, I don't have to fiddle here much longer, but this is what I was doing. Your ICT assignment tomorrow. What is that? Information, Communication, Telecoms. This thing I made bigger now. I want to download it just quickly as a PNG so I can have it as a reference. So Scully, did it download now? Okay, there. Okay, goodbye Microsoft bullshit. This is for some other time. YouTube. How do I use it? Must I edit it first? Today is Thursday. I hate that if I'm typing and it's not typing, man. It is making me nuts. I better go close the door. Oh, fuck off. Are you kidding me? Just drag it longer. There we go. Now we can go back to 36. That's why you don't use this web software. It will drive you absolutely nuts. And that's why you download that hacked software. Says nobody. Don't tell people. It's computer technology. Is the I for it? Okay, now can I rename this thing now that I've changed it? Yes. So silly. YouTube some Thursday concept. No, I'm not going to use any of the AI stuff here. What I need to do for my buddy via Stellenbosch Houtwerk. Is with AI. But it is over here. Also, I'm actually thinking of studying this electrical engineering studies or industrial design is what I prefer to do. But also, I wouldn't mind getting into soldering and electronics, and it's my light. The I is for information, man. I don't know what the C is for, but IT is information technology. And me and Byron had a discussion and I said something, and he's like, "Yeah, that's what you're saying. You know what that is? That's a thing called information technology." Was it that? I think so. No, it was information technology is what I just said. You see how whack I am. Information theory, something like that. Anyway, Vian wants to update this besturende directeur to something else. Then I wanted to go to AI in a new browser, but I've got an account here that was logged into something else. Then I wanted to log into Merlin. Now I can invite you guys because this is going to be a lot of spam, but then I can get some extra points here to use this. But I'm going to skip that now because that's a hell of a distraction. I was going to invite myself actually. Yeah, that makes sense. No, it doesn't make sense. Information computer technology. Now we can just Google it, but let me get here onto Bard or this guy. He will search Bing and Bard correct at the same time, but I'll use Bing. So go to this guy. There's no type of question there. I think he wanted to be a carpenter and craftsman. But do you want to be a professional carpenter or something? Carpenter craftsman. Or carpenter and professional craftsman. I think professional in the beginning. But that's too long, as you all can see. And I said to him, like, but everybody knows, when you just copy and paste, that always copy and paste stuff. This extension that I use now, he's going to do it all here on the side if I was logged in. Because apparently I'm not logged in again. Also driving me nuts. But I want to go chat to this guy. There we go. This is funny. I'm going to use the mic. This is really funny. If it's the same in this browser. Anyway, okay, stop responding. I just want a different title. Continue. You need to enable. Yes. Now give me the pop-up that tells me to ask for it. It is allowed. So because I'm not using Edge, it doesn't allow me. Use mic. Fuck, that sucks. Why? I'm not gonna lose. Well, I might as well just start using it. It's all gonna crash soon. This thing is pretty amazing, actually. Also, yeah, this being as well, because you can actually screenshot stuff into there, and it could be handwritten, and you can tell it to like translate it, and then it will read the image and put the text there and translate it for you. You don't even have to save the image or nothing. You just paste it there in the chat. Which is pretty funky. Now that program I was busy sorting out to be able to use, I can get back to what can we kill? Nothing yet. What is in this? We can kill that, kill that. What is this? It's gonna die. Unable to connect at the service because you go. Now my whole computer is hanging. Come on, man, it is really not that tough. This is so easy. Now, and you see, now, I'll just go nuts. Really thinking about something now, really hard, but it's just because this stupid Copilot actually launched Edge in the background. It's full on Edge is now running if you go to processes. That's why I didn't want to use it in the first place. Otherwise I must just use that and not use Firefox at the same time, basically. With so many tabs open. Just to say that. We will get there, I promise you. Quickly back here to this Photoshop thing. That pop-up thing didn't work. I must actually install Photoshop first, but okay, I'll just run that crap twice. I doubt it is still here open. Come on, don't be bliss. Yeah, it's not. That's the same place as where I'm now. Now. Could be on D. Okay, come on. Oh, that thing's not responding. Okay. Seems this computer is just better at... There we go, Copilot. Oh my goodness, it's alive. New. We'll keep it creative. On D, we want to go to Adobe and apps, Adobe. Okay, it's also not there, so then I can just quickly grab it out of there. Search. Patch it. Patch it. Patch it. Please do it correctly. And then I must do that pop-up thing. Because I think that's the thing that was nagging me and why I closed the program. Because I just actually had to close it and then carry on with what I was doing. Click learn more, then it goes away. Until someday they bog you down again. Okay. Could you come up for a good short title for a professional uh, professional carpenter and craftsman?
Sure, I can try to generate some possible titles for you. Here are some examples. Woodworking 101, learn the craft from professional carpenters and craftsmen.
Now they think on
The
story
Art of
titles.
Wood, how to master professional crafts with expert guidance. From hobby to career, a guide to professional crafts by skilled carpenters.
I meant the job title. The job title is for a carpenter and a craftsman. So it's a professional carpenter and craftsman, but shorter. Craftist, are you kidding me? It's firstly carpenter. Hey man, stop listening, man. Craftsman, craftist. Yeah, because I thought it was funny, the CC. It is you can choose languages and stuff that they've managed to make robots sound better almost, and this is just my age or now my co-pilot. I didn't realize co-pilot also does it until it happened. But if you read aloud, if you click read aloud the article field on the web, you can choose the language in Edge or the whatever. A person. So you can choose like a Nigerian English, and then it's like a different bra. I meant the job title. The job title is for a carpenter. For a, let's just say there, for a professional carpenter and craftsman. Here's also some shortcuts. I don't know if you guys can see that at the bottom right. I guess not really, no. What if I do this? Noink. I must have like a zoom button that can do that. So if I'm typing here, you all know you can press shift and then highlight the things and over type it. You can also press control and press left, then it jumps to the next word. And also if you hold control shift, you can highlight the word. And then also shift home or page up and page down, but you can also press control home, goes to the very first, and control N to the very end. So I do this quite often. Or you jump to somewhere and then if you cut it and you move it, and you know, it's just some keyboard tips. Let's press enter and get results here. Let's move on. Now this pop up, boink. This pop-up thing didn't work yesterday if you're not connected.
I see. Sorry for the misunderstanding. A job title for a professional carpenter and craftsman could vary depending on the type of work they do, the level of experience they have, and the industry they work in.
Okay, so that's useless. I'm just going to go with carpenter and craftsman because we don't need to say professional because it's a professional business and it's artisan and artisanal and it is obviously professional. You don't have to say that and it's too long. It's my thing. Is this thing done? There's a load shedding bell. Damn. Is he done now? Adding Windows firewall rule. Looks like it's done. Search again. Oh, the pop-up comes after the patch. Okay, I think it's done. Close this thing. Illustrator. What you can be interested in, Graham Scully, is if this website here, he keeps on complaining that it's not a website, and I'm like, but it is, because it is HTML, but it's actually just his signature or his logo on a page where his domain is, and he has to pay hosting for email sending and so on, and then this, put not both of them, that's just that side there is his, basically his email signature. So I must change this, but he also wants a shop eventually, and I was just gonna copy and paste, yes, copy and paste this other website that I've done. Oh, I must also fix something on there. Damn, I need to make a note. I make notes these days of things that's done and must get done, and important things must get to the top, and then I scratch down stuff. I actually redid my zip on my shorts. Took me like a month to get to it actually. The Tiny couldn't believe it takes me 2 days to sew on a zip, and I'm like, yeah, it actually took me like a month, but not too serious. Mooi gemaakt staal. The video is not showing. Mooi gemaakt staal. That's what it said. Go away, you fucking Copilot piece of shit. Let's just kill Microsoft Edge to make sure it is gone. Yeah, the video is not. Oh, there's the video loading. Why are they saying it's not showing? It's a pity it's not full screen. You can't really see this. I must put a shadow or something, or the text must be darker here. That also. Anyway, this is a logo we also made for them. A Wineland Steel Company. So basically it's a shop. I'm gonna kill Edge here. Right click Edge. And then also just make a note of this thing. Okay, use a different pen. You don't need the pen that you put up there. Okay. Is it right? It writes. Okay, back to, let's squeeze it in there below Beyond. Mooi gemaakt, but the video is showing, so I don't know what is wrong. It could be just on iPhone, or it could be the internet is slow and then they think it's not showing or something. Mooi geplaas, nee plus. Mooi gemaakt staal video. Anyway, so this is an easy thing I'm going to copy and paste, which I can show you how to do. This is a WordPress site with basically just WooCommerce. What we can do is, if I'm nice, I should actually, all these images should be the same sizes. So if it's a funny size, it must automatically crop. Look, I lost you there, buddy. And this is going to need some CSS work and WordPress in the back end, so, which I'm going to copy and then put it on Stellenbosch Houtwerk. But first, let's see. Yes, that thing worked. Great stuff. I forgot to resize my screen back. Thanks for telling me. Nobody watching. It's amazing when they just leave and not watch anymore. Although it's for their own good. It is for the educational purposes, and I was getting to the point of where it would have been valuable for you, especially where you then could ask me stuff. But I see the one is back there. It's good to know. Fit to screen. There we go. It's back to screen. Say I if it's you, Scully. Now the font's not going to be installed either. What is it? Ignore. It was missing something now and I don't know what it was missing. Now it's missing fonts. Oh, it was linking images. Okay, so this thing I'd never have to open. Go away. Close. Skip. Go away. Go away. 20 seconds. Wow. Oh, but that could be because of my browser's lag and stuff. So if we are doing a chat thing, we can do a one-on-one. I mean, or not a one-on-one. I mean, just like we can have another channel running where me and you are live. Real time, I mean. Okay, so there is something funky here. What is this thing supposed to be? Supposed to be a logo, which I'm missing. Where is it supposed to be? But did you get the part of, I'm going to copy the one website and put it on here basically, and maybe fake products or just a page or two, where you can see like more back end HTML stuff, because this is not just the image, it is like website stuff. But yeah, we can catch up just now. I don't know if we do Discord, it's probably the easiest, or just WhatsApp call. I'm now just firstly concerned about where is this freaking logo. So the one I closed, I shouldn't have closed. Minus. Okay, what fonts is this? I'm not using that. I'm not using that. Are we using Ostrich Sans? Okay, replace fonts. Yes, it's supposed to ask me find. So not that one. Find, 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 find. That one. Ostrich Sans heavy. Luckily I do have. Sorry, man. I could just see current viewers gone and like, you know, your P2, man. Thank you. It's just a paragraph and not an H1 or something. I must just find my fonts quickly, because that's what you do if you don't work enough. Then every time your Windows is reset, your shit is fucked. Apps, Nexus font, Nexus font. Then go to search everything, because everything finds everything. It's the best search engine here. You go to Ostrich. There we go. It's in font, single font 17. How far is Nexus doing? Single fonts. That's not too broken. There it is. I hope. Might scan a little bit now. Struggle, because you know my struggles of my games is all the video recordings I have mostly, and all the games that's installed or downloaded and broken, not updated, using up storage space, games I don't play. Then I run into issues now and again. Okay, so Ostrich. Ostrich. Just all of it. Dun, dun, dun. Select them all. Only I need one, but anyway, then this program is so nice. It's on my other hard drive, the program and the fonts, and I can right click and say install, and then I can say leave the files where they are, so don't copy it to the system bullshit. And now the logo should look better. Yes. I don't know about that one. Just say done. Illustrator can automatically activate skip. Don't ask me again, because they want to activate their online font syncing services and stuff, and then it's going to mess up with my setup if I have to log in with an account that doesn't have subscription, or it probably won't, but I don't have their fonts either always, and I don't need it, and it's just annoying. Oh look, they also have a generate AI thing built in here now. This is pretty cool. I don't know why I don't have this thing on its own, so now I must quickly check which one is the logo. It's the one with the words in the middle. A hammer and a saw. So it's this last one. Okay, so the correct thing now to do is quickly check my layers. No, I need artboards. Right click here. There. Window. Artboards. There we go. Which one is this? STB Houtwerk. STB Houtwerk logo. Tink. This one just go here. What is on this thing? This thing is junk. Delete it. But it doesn't delete the thing. Layers is here, so artboards can also just go into that there. Libraries must actually go away, but anyway, go away. And asset export for, I don't need this. Bang. I need none of that. So, kapoop. Is it selecting it or not? I can't see it. No. Bam. Right click. Delete. Bam. Delete. Bam. File. Save it as. Oh, he actually wants another version of this. You're not playing Palwood. No. I saw, have you watched that guys? You've probably seen his shorts, Pirate Software. The guy that used to work for Blizzard. This light must go back there. There's the pen also what I was looking for. Just came back. And the Healthy Gamer is an Indian psychiatrist, studied in Harvard, so he's full on doctor, psychiatrist, but he's also into his meditation and but his channel's name is Healthy Gamer. You must watch his stuff. It's really, you must actually watch a bunch of these channels now, maybe, because of you're also a gamer and because of psychology and so on. The people have got some things to say that's interesting. Anyway, he mentioned Pal World first. And then Pirate Software guy was playing Pal World the other day. But Pirate Software guy, we must actually do this after your modules now, which I will help you. We'll finish that shit today, man. Maybe. It's called game.dev or something. It's not this. I made a clip of it the other day on YouTube while he was streaming, so I was kind of doing him a favor. He's got a real cool voice, man, and the stories that he tells in his shorts, because he streams every day like 8 hours. People can ask him questions while he's developing a game or either answering. Pirate Software. I wonder, yeah, your clips. Maybe his clips would be in here. Yeah, learn game making games. Is that what I called it? I'm pretty sure. That's probably what he called the thing, and that's not what my clip's name is. I'm not sure. I can't remember. I must just put off my mic now. It's gonna echo. Or you can tell me how badly it echoes. Why is it so slow? This is an old one. This is a month ago. See, that's the ADHD, the distractions. But I am streaming now and showing you something. I'm not getting paid for the work I'm doing, so I can do it whenever I want. I want to fix the Wi-Fi properly. Once for all, get in the roof. I've got our neighbor actually has got the crimping tools. I can cut this thing in half. I put the router down there and the router in the middle and the router here. And because we've got lots of cable from them. Universe Cat, yeah, that's also funny. Chubby Tart distribution, but anyway, new fan, witty shorts. No problem, 100% answer. So he just basically said he doesn't mind answering questions. But I've put the web address there and you can't see it, so that sucks. But he made a website of free resources of game development, and you don't have to code. Develop.games. I went game.dev.
Skinny Doom with 501 bits said, "Hey Thor, I'm a new fan who's become enthralled by your YT shorts and streams.
Thank you.
I've always had an interest in video game design, and I was wondering what would be a good place to start. I only
games.
have Lenovo laptop I got on sale for $200. You
That's
probably
fine.
get this."
How bad is the echo? I'm just gonna put off the mic quickly.
It said, "Hey Thor,
so
I'm
the
a new
whole-
fan who's become enthralled by your YT shorts and streams."
Thank you.
Great, so that means I forgot because I'm playing over my speakers now. OBS desktop audio setting is not set to my desktop audio. It's not set to what my audio is from my screen. It's from my headphones. So if I'm playing it through there, it's going over the mic, and you say that sounds not too bad, and that's why there's no echo. That's good to know. Anyway, this is a cool dude. He's got some cool shit. Let's just go pick a random one of his shorts, because he streams long and then people ask him questions and then he draws and stuff in paint and tell them how some shit works. You have a wizard fight. There's a colored thing on the floor. Are they like, no, but I'm gonna tell you right now. Is this Palworld? Yeah, it is. It's the bottom. He worked on World of Warcraft and all that stuff.
Is this new Animal Crossing? I don't know. How long have you played Animal Crossing? Probably a while, right? You played a lot of Animal Crossing before? I think Animal Crossing's pretty cool. But I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think I've ever done this in Animal Crossing. You know what I mean? Is this new Animal Crossing? I don't know. How long have you played Animal Crossing? Probably a while, right? You played a lot of Animal Crossing before?
He's just saying it's not like Animal Crossing. Anything that's super healthy. Yeah, so there, what is this? Password rotation. Go to sleep. Fun. Personal projects. China Gacha proposed changes. That's kind of interesting, actually.
China has actually just announced something really wild. Online games will now be banned from giving players rewards if they log in every day. If they spend on the game the first time, like the top-up bonuses, gone. If they spend several times in the game consecutively, so chain money, they're like, oh, you bought like 5 items, you can get 50% off the next item. That's gone. In addition, games will be stopped from luck-based draw mechanics, like loot boxes to minors. No more gacha for kids. That's good. It is crazy and crazy to see. So these are all banned now in China. Panic among investors, wiping nearly $80 billion in market value off of China's 2 biggest gaming companies. The moment that they did this, $80 billion wiped off the map, dude. Now, here's the thing that's really interesting. People will be like, oh, that's just going to be in China. They're going to use them everywhere else. I don't know about that. Remember when the EU implemented all of its online laws and then every website does this? I think the rest of the market's going to follow suit. This is a rare China W for me. These are some of the most predatory dog shit business things I've ever seen in games. And it feels weird, but I agree with you, China. Please get rid of this shit. China is actually just...
That's cool. Anyway, so you've seen it. I only saw Power World from him. Actually, have you played it? Let me ask you that question. And then also, here's that link. I will also clap it here in the chat. And then you can tell me where you're at, those modules are at. Then I can quickly clap this thing, duplicate artboard. Come on, you bitch, I right clicked you. Cool. You mean on this modules thing? Is it just stuff you have to do? And the assignment is, so you're getting stuff to do now, modules to do, which learns you how to then later do it without the modules, do the assignment. That's similar to the modules, I'm guessing, or based on it. Duplicate. Because that other, I need to do another website. That's one that's now a year overdue, more than a year. There you'll probably also be able to learn some stuff that you're working on or going to work on, CSS related mostly, and WordPress, which you are going to have to learn at some point. But I'm talking WordPress, like kind of back-end stuff or developer type stuff. Anyway, go do your modules. We can talk about your module doing stuff later. You wanted a version with no border. Undo that. Let's just group that quickly. We get the layers, objects. Is it just this thing? Can I undo it? Yes. So lock it. Take all of these. We make it the same size. Away, man, away. Now that Mickey is back and you're not going, we are gonna go do Bohemia Bingo, I'm guessing. With Dr. Professor. But never mind that, yeah, I'll catch you later. Bam. Oops. Undo. Undo. So why did it not delete that one? Just choose that one. Yes. Delete. And then let's save this thing with a new name. Let's leave it at that. Houtwerk in Word. Logo. Let's remove the dashes unnecessary. And let's just add a 2024. 02. 08. Bam. Save. We want to align this here to center, alatis, group it, we align it again to select it, center and center. Now we have a logo of no border. Now we're gonna go file, export, export as. Okay, let's just go type, select object, all text objects. Okay, and we say, why is that not? Why is that so close to the mountain? That's funky. Did I do it now? It is still type, right? Ungroup. Yes. I better check out what is up with the business cards. I don't know what this thing is linking to. It is very weird. It's linking to something. Window, workspace, essentials. It looks great. Why can't I see everything I want to see? Reset. Nah, that's fine. There's a link button. There's a logo. Outlines. Print AI. Where the hell is that? Missing link. Relink. I think I must go to this. Is in here. No. What is this thing? Oh, Overdue. Shit. Cancel. Can I get this thing's name? I'm gonna get the name. Panel options. Cancel. I want the freaking name of the thing. How can I get the name there? You're serious? Can I not copy it? Oh, I don't have that. Never mind. Go to link, relink. It's just gonna open up a thing. I guess I must just type it. It's taking too long. Stellenbosch underscore. It seems I don't have it anywhere. Logo 2019. Close. This is now the Baki brand. It would have been embedded. It's very odd. There's also image link. Same one. Oh, man. Gmail. Pop it up. This thing's saved already. Yeah. Let's just search for that thing there quickly. Paste that thing. Bang. So this thing. One more. PDF. PNG. 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 Outlines. Print. PDF. Anyway, download. Because this is one I can use. Open folder. Open folder. Anyway, and now since I am also, is this in Drive or not? Drive. Minimize. Back to not minimize. I wanted to listen to that other guy saying that words. This is history. Search. YouTube. I don't mean to press enter onto that one. Then I can also somewhat just while I'm at it, switch here to switch tel. Is that even in this folder? Yeah. There's another tester. Let's delete that. Switch tel. And then also let's just get all the band.host stuff in its correct places. Marked as red. Get a statement, that's nice. Okay, customer invoice, affiliate, monthly referrals. We successfully paid, payment confirmation, and bling, 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 bling. And the host is unharried. Except that one. Marcus red. Label. Vander. Host. Host. Fly. Ah, fuck you. Four o'clock again. That's what I wanted to watch in this video. The time. They don't have they have the time issues. So much time. Like this guy sent me an email in 2022 February, and I'm only gonna go liking the page now, unless I did. I am following. Okay, good stuff. I'm not gonna follow all that stuff. I'm not even gonna go into here. I can't. Delete this message. Archive all of this. I thought I marked it as red. Okay, just check out the statement story. Yada 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 yada. So what? Am I outstanding? I doubt it. Okay, is unread is now all covered. Or is it? I need to play.
Excessive amounts of coffee. It does increase focus, and to a dramatic extent. Modafinil typically was very expensive. I don't know if it's still this attention. And first, let's just define what we mean by attention. Out there in the scientific literature and in discussions about ADHD, we will hear things like attention and focus and concentration and impulse control.
Can't keep time.
For sake of today's discussion,
Time delete.
the first author is Terhune, Terhune. It's a wonderful paper. They examined the relationship between fluctuations in timing and blinking. And to make a long story short, what they found is that right after blinks, we reset our perception of time. Okay? So blinks in that sense are a little bit like the curtain coming down on a scene between scenes in a play or role. Just like good sleep plays a supportive and modulatory role for essentially everything. Your immune system, your ability to think, your ability to regulate your emotion, it's modulating that process. This component of Welcome to the Huberman Lab podcast, where we discuss science and science-based tools for everyday life. I'm Andrew Huberman, and I'm a professor of neurobiology and ophthalmology at Stanford School of Medicine. Today we are going to talk So let's talk about ADHD, Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. Let's also talk about focus and attention and everybody's ability to focus and attend, not just people with ADHD. We are also going to talk about tools that would allow anyone, whether or not they have ADHD or not, to enhance their level of concentration and focus. ADHD used to be called ADD, Attention Deficit Disorder. We have record of ADD in the medical literature dating back to as early as 1904. Now, there's nothing special about 1904. That's just the first time that it showed up in the standard medical literature. We have to believe that ADD, which we now call ADHD, existed before 1904 and probably long before 1904. Why? Well, because it has a strong genetic component. If you have a close relative that has ADHD, there's a much higher probability that you will have ADHD. And that probability goes up depending on how closely related to that person you happen to be. So for instance, if you're an identical twin and your twin has ADHD, there's a very high concordance, as we say, a very high probability that you will have ADHD, up to 75% chance.
I was saying this to my brother.
Fraternal twin with ADHD, that number goes down a bit in the 50 to 60% range, and so on. If you have a parent with ADHD, that number ranges anywhere from 10 to 25% likelihood that you will have ADHD with two parents, and so on and so on. Okay, so there's a genetic component. That genetic component, it turns out, relates directly to how specific neural circuits in the brain wire up, the chemicals they use, and the way they use those chemicals, a topic that we are going to discuss in depth today. Now, if you have a close relative with ADHD, that does not mean that you are fated to have ADHD. And if you happen to have ADHD, there are ways to overcome those symptoms of lack of attention, impulsivity, and so on.
I just want to quickly, now that something is playing, get back to what I was trying to do. What was I also trying to do in my email that was unnecessary? Switch tell. Well, there's nothing in there. Delete. Delete, search, Cape, connect. Migration and costs. I'll never even remember seeing this. Dear Wilbur, we have received your request and someone will be looking at it shortly and blah 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. The ticket has been updated. You can reply above. I trust you find this well. Please refer to below your per usual. To proceed with getting connected, kindly proceed the following link. Enter your address. I just wanna... Cool. The pricing seems similar. Switch style. It's probably our VoIP service is monthly line. Should you wish to port your number, please fill out the porting. It's 85 Rand per month. It's more expensive than Switchtel. It's just 49. Nobody cares about free internet. It's about what you pay afterwards. Anyway, there's another distraction. I just wanted to check my Unfiber situation. Martin. Vamp. Oh, okay. Must I click there? No clicky, no worky. Are you kidding me? I did. Check. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to add a window. Application audio. Capture. Audio output. Application audio output. The mic is good enough. I want display capture. No, I want to capture application. Application. Why is this now so difficult? Window capture. I'm just gonna say if YouTube make source visible. Don't know what that means. There is a FF YouTube, but which one is that? Anyway, I'm gonna make a new one. Oh, but not that one. That one. Capture method auto. Force SDR. I don't know what that means. I think that's lower quality, and because it's not going to be full screen, it can be. I don't know what client area is. What is there no tooltip popping up? Hate it. Anyway, Say okay, say enable. Then we can go minimize it like there because it's going to be not so big. My face is also really big here, I see now. This camera, why is it so stretched out? My head's not that long. Biology. Can you guys read biology there? Let's just make this guy big again. I can crop it. Filtering it with a croppering tool. We could go left 200. And then go down. More. 120-ish. 25. Top. That's definitely 200. Down, up. 200 is good. Right. No. Leave the chapters there because sometimes it's chat, not just chapters. Probably take the scroll bar away. So that's 160 then, and then the bottom. No. Leave a title there. Yeah. It's a pity those buttons there on the right doesn't line up. How bad does this look? Pretty bad. Doody da doody filters bottom. Maybe I must just ignore the fact that the bottoms and the right is showing. It's so annoying. My goodness. What if I can go here? See, now it won't line up there. Huh. Oh, that's different buttons. Why do they... Oh, they always line up there. But not now. They do still. That sucks. Why did YouTube do such bad work? All they could have done was make this block the flex model. Okay, so I'm going to right click here and say expand all. Wow. Then you click on the panel, display block. This one is flex. Now flex is just gone. Anyway. Why is this so slow? Anyway, here's a height. They could have just changed the height. Wow, why is it so slow? Let's make it 50, make it 60. 70. 80. And there's a width, sidebar, minimum width. Because the video is not fitting anymore, so it's probably not the solution I'm looking for. Let's just put this 50, 60. If this thing just wasn't so slow, man. Okay, choose this thing, this whole thing. Yes. Is that heading actually in there? This thing I'm looking for. What is that thing? Yes. Why does the cropping not work now? Because it's now in line, so it should be fine. See, that's not so bad. That's fine. Close. Shrinkage. My camera shrinkage. This thing. This. Nice, now this thing, can it now go normal size? Just make me as big as next to the Windows button. Which is still pretty big. Now we can disable this, we press play.
Another important point about ADHD is that it has nothing to do with intelligence. Whether or not we're talking about intelligence measured by a standard IQ test, a rather controversial issue, as many of you probably know. There are lots of forms of intelligence that a standard IQ test just wouldn't pick up. Emotional intelligence, musical intelligence, spatial intelligence, all sorts of intelligences. None of them are related to ADHD. Being very high functioning doesn't make you more likely to have ADHD, and being ADHD doesn't necessarily mean that you have a low IQ. So there are people with ADHD who have low IQs, people with ADHD with high IQs, people with ADHD with high emotional IQ or with low IQ in the emotional scale. It's all over the place. The important point is that your ability to attend and focus does not relate to how smart you are or your IQ of any type, not just a standard IQ. The renaming of ADD to ADHD took place in the mid to late 1980s, when the psychiatric community and the psychological community started taking better notice of the fact that so-called hyperactive kids also had attentional issues. This might seem obvious, but there's been extensive and ongoing revision of the criteria for designating a psychiatric disorder, and this is still an ongoing process, even today. So in the mid-80s, we started hearing about ADHD, and then gradually that term ADD has been dropped away. However, Just the renaming of ADD to ADHD has led to much better diagnosis and detection of ADHD. So right now, the current estimates are that about 1 in 10 children, and probably more, have ADHD. Current estimates are anywhere from 10%, 1 in 10, to as high as 12%. Now, fortunately, about half of those will resolve with proper treatment, but the other half typically don't. The other thing that we are seeing a lot nowadays is increased levels of ADHD in adults. And there's some question as to whether or not those adults had ADHD that went undetected during their childhood, or whether or not ADHD is now cropping up in adulthood due to the way that we are interacting with the world. In particular, smartphone use, the combination of email, text, real-world interactions, multiple apps and streams of media and social media all coming in at once, trying to manage life. All of the things that are going on are creating a kind of cloud of pulls on our attention. And so there is this question to whether or not we are creating ADHD in adults that never had ADHD prior to being an adult. So let's talk about attention. And first, let's just define what we mean by attention. Out there in the scientific literature and in discussions about ADHD, we will hear things like attention and focus and concentration and impulse control. For sake of today's discussion, attention, focus, and concentration are essentially the same thing. Okay? We could split hairs, and the scientific literature does split hairs about these. But if we want to understand the biology and we want to have a straightforward conversation about ADHD, if I say attention or focus, I'm basically referring to the same thing, unless I specify otherwise, okay? So people with ADHD have trouble holding their attention.
Yep.
What is attention? Well, attention is perception.
This is the
It's how
interesting part.
we are perceiving the sensory world. So just a little bit of neurobiology 101, we are sensing things all the time. There's information coming into our nervous system all the time. For instance, right now, you're hearing sound waves. You are seeing things. You are sensing things against your skin, but you are only paying attention to some of those. And the ones that you're paying attention to are your perceptions. So if you hear my voice, you are perceiving my voice. You are not paying attention to your other senses at the moment. Okay? You might even be outside in a breeze, and until I said that, you might not be perceiving that breeze, but your body was sensing it all along. So attention and focus are more or less the same thing, but impulse control is something separate. Because impulse control requires pushing out or putting the blinders on to sensory events in our environment. It means lack of perception. Impulse control is about limiting our perception. People with ADHD have poor attention and they have high levels of impulsivity. They are easily distractible. But the way that shows up is very surprising. You might think that people with ADHD just simply can't attend to anything. They really can't focus, even if they really want to. But that's simply not the case.
Sometimes.
People with ADHD, yes, they are distractible. Yes, they are impulsive. Yes, they are easily annoyed by things happening in the room. They sometimes have a high level of emotionality.
My computer doesn't
Not always,
work.
but often. However, people with ADHD can have a hyper focus, an incredible ability to focus on things that they really enjoy or are intrigued by.
Or get
This
paralyzed.
is a very
and
important
cannot stop
point
doing
because
that stupid little thing.
typically, we think of somebody with ADHD as being really wild and hyperactive or having no ability whatsoever to sit still and attend. And while that phenotype, as we call it, that contour of behavior and cognition can exist, many people, if not all people with ADHD, if you give them something they really love, like if a child loves video games, or if a child loves to draw, or if an adult loves a particular type of movie or a person very much, they will obtain laser focus.
Like series that you watch over and over and over and
So
over.
that tells us that people with ADHD have the capacity to attend, but they can't engage that attention for things that they don't really, really want to do. And as we all know, much of life, whether or not you're a child or an adult, involves doing a lot of things that we don't want to do. Much of our schooling involves doing things that we would prefer not to do. and sort of forcing ourselves to do it, to attend even though we are not super interested in what we are attending to. There are a couple of other things that people with ADHD display quite often. One is challenges with time perception. Time perception is a fascinating aspect of how our brain works. And later we're going to talk about time perception and how you can actually get better at time perception. It's very likely that right now you are doing things that get in the way of optimal time perception, and I will tell you how to adjust your ability.
What is playing?
This to damage it. Why did he do that? Some of the details you may find.
It's another video I want to watch.
Television that had this experience. I was able to get more details by speaking with him directly, and what I learned is that that technician seemed agitated and aggravated from the notes that he would have had to wait 1 hour to an hour and a half for a truck to come out to bring a television screen for that television. It needed a part, and it was covered under warranty. The part was not in his truck. He would have had to wait for somebody else to come out, which means that he would have not been able to end his day when he wanted to end his day. He would have had to end his day an hour to 2 hours later as a result of this. He didn't want to do that. Now, there are several ways that you could do when this is the case. Behind door number 1, you could tell your boss and the customer, listen, man, I'm truly sorry that things are the way they are. I know this is unfair to you, and I know this is not what I need to do. I need to be able to leave at 5 o'clock today for a number of different reasons. I'm sorry, I will be back here to help you, and I will make it up to you, but I can't do this right now. That's what a man does. That's what a person with a backbone does. What a slimy little weasel-ass bitch does is tell the customer a lie to get them to leave the room as if...
Where is it playing? Where is the bloody YouTube video? I can't see it anywhere. It is really annoying. Close this window because it's behind it. Damn. Can my play and pause be here now?
Resetting a circuit breaker.
No. Okay, so refresh this window. I didn't mean to say skip, just refresh it. The guy was just talking about this.
To measure time with your brain and how ourselves to do it. We're doing things that we would prefer not to do. Sure. Let's get a break. So let me involves doing a lot of things that we don't want to do. School involves doing things that we would prefer not to do, and sort of forcing ourselves to do it, to attend even though we are not super interested in what we are attending to. There are a couple of other things that people with ADHD display quite often. One is challenges with time perception. Time perception is a fascinating aspect of how our brain works. And later we're going to talk about time perception and how you can actually get better at time perception. It's very likely that right now you are doing things
if I come back
that
here,
get in
I
the
want to do
way
this.
of optimal time perception. And I will tell you how to adjust your ability to measure time with your brain. People with ADHD often run late. They often procrastinate. But what's interesting and surprising is that if they are given a deadline, they actually can perceive time very well. And they often can focus very well if the consequences of not completing a task or not attending are severe enough. It's a little bit like the way that people with ADHD can really focus if they like something. Well, if they're scared enough about the consequences of not attending, oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes they can attend. If they're not really concerned about a deadline or a consequence, well, then they tend to lose track of time and they tend to underestimate how long things will take. Now, many people do that, not just people with ADHD, but people with ADHD have challenges understanding how to line up the activities of their day in order to meet particular deadlines, even if it's just a simple thing like finishing one set of tasks before lunch. Oftentimes, they will remember that lunch starts at noon, but somehow they aren't able to fill the intervening time in a way that's productive. And they can obsess about the upcoming deadline, for instance. We will talk about how to remedy this. In addition, their spatial organization skills are often subpar. Not always, but often you will find that somebody with ADHD uses what's called the pile system in order to organize things. They will take many belongings, and this could be in the kitchen or in their bedroom or in their office or in any space, and they will start piling things up according to a categorization system that makes sense to them and only them. It doesn't really have any logical framework. Many people use the pile system, and if you use the pile system, that doesn't mean that you have ADHD. In fact, if you're unpacking a house or you've moved recently, or you've received a lot of presents recently, the pile system makes perfect sense to organize your space. But people with ADHD tend to organize things according to the pile system all the time, and that pile system doesn't work for them. Okay, so that's the key distinction, that they use a filing system, and it's not really files, they're piling things up in a way that makes sense to them, but then it doesn't work for them in terms of what task they actually need to perform. They can't find things, or if anyone moves one thing, then it's very disruptive to their overall plan, because their overall plan doesn't really work in the first place. So that's a common phenotype.
Why?
A phenotype, by the way, is just an expression of a particular set of underlying genetic or psychological components. Okay, so we say the phenotype. So a phenotype would be brown
Every time I
hair,
record it,
green eyes.
replay, it does this thing in the
A
program.
phenotype could also be that somebody uses a
It's
pile
fine.
system. Okay. The other thing that people with ADHD have real trouble with is so-called working memory. Now, you might think that people with ADHD would have really poor memories, but in fact, that's not the case. People with ADHD often can have a terrific memory for past events. They can remember upcoming events
I
quite
want to
well.
see my layers.
Their memory is clearly
guides.
working. However, one aspect of memory in particular that we call working memory is often disrupted. Working memory is the ability to keep specific information online, to recycle it in your brain over and over again so that you can use it in the immediate or short term. A good example of this would be you meet somebody, they tell you their name, they give you their phone number verbally, and you have to walk back to your phone and enter it into your phone. People without ADHD might have to put some effort into it. It might feel like a bit of a struggle, but typically they would be able to recite that phone number in their mind over and over and then put it into their phone. People with ADHD tend to lose the ability or lack the ability to remember things that they just need to keep online for anywhere from 10 seconds to a minute or two. Okay, so a string of numbers like 643781 for most people would be pretty easy. 643781, 643781, you could probably remember that a minute from now without writing it down. But if you add one more number to that 643781
Display.
it gets tougher. Okay, so there's a reason why phone numbers typically have 7 digits in them. Of course, there's an area code, but remembering information that strings out longer than 7 numbers or a sentence or two, that's challenging for most people. People with ADHD have severe challenges even with much smaller batches of information over even much smaller batches of time. Deficits in working memory are also something that we see in people who have frontotemporal dementia, so damage to the frontal lobes, or age-related cognitive decline. And so it will come as no surprise that later when we discuss treatments, supplements, and other tools for ADHD, that many of those treatments, supplements, and tools for ADHD are similar to the ones that work for age-related cognitive decline. Okay, so we've more or less established the menu of items that people with ADHD tend to have. Some have all of them, some have just a subset of them. Their severity can range from very intense to mild, but in general, it's challenges with attention and focus, challenges with impulse control, they get annoyed easily, kind of an impulsivity, they can't stay on task, time perception can be off.
Like these guides.
They use the piling system or a system that doesn't.
Do I have to make a layer of guides
in order to organize their things in physical space? And they have a hard time with anything that's mundane that they're not really interested in. Again, I just want to highlight that people with ADHD are able to obtain hyper-focus for things that are exciting to them and that they really want to engage.
No.
So now you have the contour of what ADHD is. And if you're somebody who doesn't have ADHD, you should also be asking yourself which aspects of ADHD are similar to things I've experienced before. Because what we know about the healthy brain is that there's also a range of abilities to focus. Some people focus very well on any task. You give them a task, they can just laser in on that task. Other people have to fight an internal battle. They have to convince themselves that it's important or interesting. They have to incentivize themselves internally. Other people, doesn't matter. They could be bored to tears with the information, but they can do it just because they are quote-unquote very disciplined people. We tend to admire those people, but as you'll see a little bit later, it's not clear that that's the best way to run your attentional system. There might be something to this business of having heightened levels of attention for the things that you are most interested or excited by. So let's drill into this issue of why people with ADHD actually can focus very intensely on things that they enjoy and are curious about. Now, enjoyment and curiosity are psychological terms. They're not even really psychological terms, they're just the way that we describe our human experience of liking things, wanting to know more about them. But from a neurobiological perspective, they have a very clear identity and signature, and that's dopamine. Dopamine is released from neurons. It's what we call a neuromodulator. And as a neuromodulator, it changes the activity of the circuits in the brain such that certain circuits are more active than others. And in particular, dopamine creates a heightened state of focus. It tends to contract our visual world, and it tends to make us pay attention to things that are outside and beyond the confines of our skin. It's what we call exteroception. Dopamine also tends to challenges with time perception. Time perception is a fascinating aspect of how our brain works. And later we're going to talk about time perception and how you can actually get better at time perception. It's very likely that right now you are doing things that get in the way of optimal time perception. And I will tell you how to adjust your ability to measure time with your brain.
To stream.
People with ADHD often run late. They often procrastinate.
Always
But
late.
what's interesting and surprising is that if they are...
Yes, and play pauses now in this video. Oh, I don't have to rant, that's a win.
Given a deadline, they actually can perceive time very well. And they often can focus very well if the consequences of not completing a task or not attending are severe enough. It's a little bit like the way that people with ADHD can really focus if they like something. Well, if they're scared enough about the consequences of not attending, oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes they can attend. If they're not really concerned about a deadline or a consequence, well, then they tend to lose track of time and they tend to underestimate how long things will take. Now, many people do that, not just people with ADHD, but people with ADHD have challenges understanding how to line up the activities of their day in order to meet particular deadlines, even if it's just a simple thing like finishing one set of tasks before lunch. Oftentimes, they will remember that lunch starts at noon, but somehow they aren't able to fill the intervening time in a way that's productive.
And then
they can obsess about the upcoming deadline, for instance. We will talk about how to remedy this.
Once again, this is free work, so
organization skills are often
I'm not under a deadline,
not always,
then I'm doing other things. I'm
often
relearning
you'll find that somebody
Illustrator.
with ADHD uses what's called the pile system in order to organize things. They will take many belongings, and this could be in the kitchen or in their bedroom or in their office or in any space, and they will start piling things up according to a categorization system that makes sense to them and only them. It doesn't really have any logical framework. Many people use the pile system, and if you use the pile system, that doesn't mean that you have ADHD. In fact, if you're unpacking a house or you've moved recently or you've received a lot of presents recently, the pile system makes perfect sense to organize your space. But people with ADHD tend to organize things according to the pile system all the time, and that pile system doesn't work for them. Okay, so that's the key distinction, that they use a filing system, and it's not really files, they're piling things up in a way that makes sense to them, but then it doesn't work for them in terms of what task they actually need to perform. They can't find things, or if anyone moves one thing, it's very disruptive to their overall plan, because their overall plan doesn't really work in the first place. So that's a common phenotype, as we call it. A phenotype, by the way, is just an expression of a particular set of underlying genetic or psychological components.
What is optics?
Okay, so a phenotype. So a phenotype could be brown hair and green eyes.
The logo.
For me, a phenotype could also be that somebody uses a piling system. Okay. The other thing that people with ADHD have real trouble with is so-called working memory. Now, you might think that people with ADHD would have really poor memories, but in fact, that's not the case. People with ADHD often can have a terrific memory for past events. They can remember upcoming events quite well. Their memory is clearly working. However, one aspect of memory in particular that we call working memory is often disrupted. Working memory is the ability to keep specific information online, to recycle it in your brain over and over again so that you can use it in the immediate or short term. A good example of this would be you meet somebody, they tell you their name, they give you their phone number verbally, and you have to walk back to your phone and enter it into your phone. People without ADHD might have to put some effort into it. It might feel like a bit of a struggle, but typically they would be able to recite that phone number in their mind over and over and then put it into their phone. People with ADHD tend to lose the ability or lack the ability to remember things that they just need to keep online for anywhere from 10 seconds to a minute or two. Okay, so a string of numbers like 643-781 for most people would be pretty easy. 643-781, 643-781. You could probably remember that a minute from now without writing it down. But if you add one more number to that 643-7813, it gets tougher. Okay, so there's a reason why phone numbers typically have 7 digits in them. Of course, there's an area code. But
the reason I got upset there now is because I locked the layers I don't want to work on. I tried to drag a guide. It's not dragging the guide.
A sentence or two.
Because I'm on highlighted on a locked layer. Well, obviously, I don't want the guide on a locked layer. I want it on the guides layer.
Deficits in working memory are also something that we see in people who have frontotemporal dementia, so damage to the frontal lobes, or age-related cognitive decline. And so it will come as no surprise that later when we discuss treatments, supplements, and other tools for ADHD, that many of those treatments, supplements, and tools for ADHD are similar to the ones that work for age-related cognitive decline. Okay, so we've more or less established the menu of items that people with ADHD tend to have. Some have all of them, some have just a subset of them. Their severity can range from very intense to mild, but in general, it's challenges with attention and focus, challenges with impulse control. They get annoyed easily, kind of an impulsivity, they can't stay on task. Time perception can be off. They use the piling system, or a system that doesn't work well for them in order to organize their things in physical space. And they have a hard time with anything that's mundane that they're not really interested in. But again, I just want to highlight that people with ADHD are able to obtain heightened levels of focus and hyper-focus with things that are exciting to them and that they really want to engage in. So now you have the contour of what ADHD is. And if you're somebody who doesn't have ADHD, you should also be asking yourself, which aspects of ADHD are similar to things I've experienced before? Because what we know about the healthy brain is that there's also a range of abilities to focus. Some people focus very well on any task. You give them a task, they can just laser in on that task. Other people, they have to fight an internal battle. They have to convince themselves that it's important or interesting. They have to incentivize themselves internally. Other people, doesn't matter. They could be bored to tears with the information, but they can do it just because...
I'm already bored. I haven't even finished this thing just because I'm struggling.
We tend to admire those people, but as you'll see a little bit later, it's not clear that that's the best way to run your attentional system. There might be something to this business of having heightened levels of attention for the things that you are most
But I just downloaded it. Oh, I renamed it.
So let's drill into this issue of why people with ADHD
actually
can focus very intensely on things that they enjoy and are curious
about.
Then
a problem.
Now, enjoyment and curiosity are psychological terms. They're not even really psychological terms. They're just the way that we describe our human experience of liking things, wanting to know more about them. But from a neurobiological perspective, they have a very clear identity and signature, and that's dopamine. Dopamine is released from neurons. It's what we call a neuromodulator. And as a neuromodulator, it changes the activity of the circuits in the brain such that certain circuits are more active than others. And in particular, dopamine creates a heightened state of focus. It tends to contract our visual world, and it tends to make us pay attention to things that are outside and beyond the confines of our skin.
How did I do this? Was I a monkey?
Dopamine also tends to put us in a state of motivation and wanting things outside the confines of our skin. So whether or not we're pursuing something physical in our world, or whether or not we're pursuing information in our
Get the
outside
right
world.
page now. Maybe there's
Dopamine is
one that's
largely
closer.
responsible for our ability and our drive to do
I
that.
lost the hard drive, that's why I have to
But
redo
dopamine
things
as a
now.
neuromodulator
Not
is
that
also
one.
involved in changing the way that we perceive the world. So as I mentioned earlier, you have all these senses coming in, and you can only perceive some of them because you're only paying attention to some of them. Dopamine, when it's released in our brain, tends to turn on areas of our brain that narrow our visual focus and our auditory focus. So it creates a cone of auditory attention that's very narrow.
None of this whole
creates
file.
a tunnel of visual attention that's very narrow. Whereas when we have less dopamine, we tend to view the entire
Can
world.
please
We tend to
delete
see
that
the whole
box.
scene
None of
that we
that.
are in. We tend to hear everything all at once. So as I describe this, hopefully you're already starting to see and understand how
Where's
having
Drive? I thought I
dopamine
opened
release
Drive.
can allow a person, whether or not they have ADHD or not, to direct their attention to particular things in their environment. Right? So now what we're doing is we're moving away from attention as this kind of vague, ambiguous term, and we're giving it a neurochemical identity, dopamine. And we are giving it a neural circuit identity. And just to put a little bit of flavor and detail on which neural circuits those are, I want to discuss two general types of neural circuits that dopamine tends to enhance. So let's talk neural circuits. And for those of you that love hearing neuroscience nomenclature, you're going to eat this part up. And for those of you that don't like a lot of names of brain areas, I invite you to tune out or just try and grab the top contour of this. I will describe it in pretty general terms, but I will give some detail because I know there are some of you out there who really want to dig deeper into what the exact structures and connectivities are. Okay? So there are two main types of circuits that we need to think about with respect to ADHD, attention and dopamine. The first one is called the default mode network. The default mode network
I got an invite
is
to
the
a what
network of
lecture?
brain areas in your brain, in my brain, and in everybody's brain that is active when we're not doing anything. When we're just sitting there idle at rest. Now, it's very hard to not think about anything, but when you're not engaged in any type of specific task, so you're not driving, you're not playing a video game, you're not trying to study, you're not trying to listen, you're just sitting there letting your brain kind of go wherever it wants to go, your default mode network underlies that state of mind. The other set of circuits that we're going to think about and talk about with respect to ADHD are the task networks. The networks of the brain that make you goal-oriented, or that are at least trying to make you goal-oriented. And those are a completely different set of brain areas. However, the default mode network and these task networks are communicating with one another, and they're doing that in very interesting ways. So first I want to describe how these two sets of brain areas, the default mode network and the task networks, normally interact. Okay? So a little bit of naming here. Again, feel free to ignore it if you don't want this level of detail, but the default mode network includes an area called the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. Frontal cortex, no surprise, is in the front, and you have a dorsal, top, and side, lateral part, dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. You got one on each side of your brain, right? And then you have a brain area called the posterior cingulate cortex. And then you have an area called the lateral parietal lobe. Again, you don't need to remember these names, but these are three brain areas that normally are synchronized in their activity. So when one of these areas is active in a typical person, the other areas would be active as well. So it's a little bit like a symphony or a band, like a three-piece band. It's like drums, guitar, and bass. They're playing together, okay? That's how it is in a typical person. In a person with ADHD, or even a person who has subclinical ADHD, or in any human being who hasn't slept well, what you find is the default mode network is not synchronized. These brain areas are just not playing well together. Now, the task networks include a different set of structures. It still involves the prefrontal cortex, but it's a different part of the prefrontal cortex, okay? Tends to be the medial prefrontal cortex. And there are some other brain areas that the medial prefrontal cortex is communicating to all the time, mainly to suppress impulses. It's shutting down the desire to stand up or to scratch the side of your cheek or your nose if you're trying not to do that. Anytime you're restricting your behavior, these task-directed networks are very active, okay? Now, normally, in a person without ADHD, the task networks and the default mode networks are going in kind of seesaw fashion. They are actually what we call anti-correlated. So it's not just that they are not correlated, they are actually opposing one another. They are anti-correlated. In a person with ADHD, the default mode networks and the task networks are actually more coordinated. That might come as surprising. I think that we all have this tendency to kind of jump to conclusion and assume that somebody who doesn't have an easy time paying attention or has ADHD, that their brain must be completely incoherent, that it's not working well and because everything's out of whack. But there's something interesting about people with ADHD whereby the task networks
I thought I
and
changed
the
to this
default
guy.
mode networks are actually working together in a way that's correlated, and that is what's abnormal. So this would be like the guitar, bass, and the drums playing together in a way where the bass isn't keeping the backbeat and the drums aren't keeping the backbeat, that they're playing together, they're all playing the melodies and harmonies in a way that just doesn't sound right. That's what's going on in the brain of somebody with ADHD. And we can now confidently say, based on brain imaging studies, that when somebody gets better when they're treated for ADHD or when they age out of ADHD, as sometimes it's the case, that the default mode networks and the task networks tend to become anti-correlated again. Okay? So that's the underlying neurobiology. But you'll notice that I didn't mention dopamine at all. What dopamine is doing in this context is dopamine is acting like a conductor. Dopamine is saying this circuit should be active, then that circuit should be active. It should be default mode network, and then when the default mode network is not active, then it should be the task network. So it's really acting as a conductor saying, you go, now you go, now you go, now you go. And in ADHD, there's something about the dopamine system that is not allowing it to conduct these networks and make sure that they stay what, the engineers or physicists or mathematicians would say out of phase, to be anti-correlated.
It is zipped. Why are you zipping it again?
Essentially the same thing, at least for purposes of this discussion. So that raises two questions. Could it be that dopamine is not at sufficiently high levels? Or could it be that dopamine is just doing it all wrong? In other words, is there no conductor, or is the conductor playing with like little tiny toothpicks, and so the instruments can't see what they're supposed to do? They can't get the instruction because it's just not loud enough, so to speak? Or could it be that the information is getting out, but the information that's getting out is wrong? The conductor is there, but the conductor isn't very good at conducting. Now we can gain insight into how this system works and fails, and how to treat it, by looking at some of the current and previous treatments for ADHD, as well as some of the recreational drugs that people with ADHD tend to pursue and like. Now, I'm certainly not a proponent of people with ADHD taking drugs recreationally. That's not what this is about. But if you look at their drug-seeking behavior and you couple that drug-seeking behavior to their desire to remedy their attention deficit, you start getting some really interesting insight into how dopamine is regulating these circuits in normal circumstances and in people with ADHD. So what exactly is going on with the dopamine system in people with ADHD? And what's going on with the dopamine system in people that have terrific levels of attention for any task? Well, in the year 2015, an important paper came out. The first author is Spencer, and it came out in a journal called Biological Psychiatry. And it formalized the so-called low dopamine hypothesis of ADHD. The idea that dopamine was somehow involved or not at the appropriate levels in people with ADHD had been around for a pretty long time. But
what did this thing not do correctly? I was looking for something that was annoying me and didn't work properly. It's not the keyboard. Can't remember now, so it's not important. Me. hope these files are correct. Blink. Oh my goodness, this is the original bullshit. Okay, so that's a waste of space. No. Next finals. Nope. None of this. In fact, I can delete all of this. Set this resources. Do I have a resource folder? Yes. I don't know what the rose gold is. But let's go to resources. Move. Move. Delete. This is the wrong shit. Business cards, medium. Plus, Narida. This looks fine. So why? Damn it. Oop. Damn it. There's the logo. How do they differ from? This is not probably in documents. Yes. From what I have over here. So same size, but that one doesn't have an image in. Does this one have an image in? It does. But this one doesn't. And now it does. But not if I open it. Oh, this is the PDF, man. It's not the AI file. Oh, I see, man. So I must rework it from the PDF cards. There we go. Okay. Right click. Fuck, this thing's long and I'm so over this now. Gone is the image. Wait, I'm an idiot. Just stay calm. Close this thing. No. Idiot. Lucky branding 01. I don't know why it says 01. Maybe it's fine. Ignore it. Use the PDFs. Okay. They want the image. Why does that one work? Ignore. How does the one on the website work? It makes zero sense. Or of course, wait, just wait. Save this thing, fuck off this thing, fuck. Sweet. Minimize. Download. Move to open in new window. Download. Fuck off. That's compressed again. Oh, I'm gonna snap. Oh, I'm gonna snap. Just overwrite the ones you have. Now, try again. Please don't tell me you are looking now for something. Open this thing. With Illustrator. Looking for a file. But there it doesn't need the file. It doesn't make sense. Ow! Here's the PDF with the images in. Here's the PDF. Where does this image get linked from that the Illustrator file don't have it? Replace. Does not make sense. Oh my goodness. Ignore. It is beyond my brain. How does this PDF have it? I don't understand. Oh, what if I save this file as something else? Save it now as an AI. Because, oh my goodness, it doesn't make sense. I don't get it. No nonsense. Ah, not as a PDF, you fucking fuck. Okay, now we have this. Delete that. Okay, open this one. So AI. Looking for that image, which I don't know where it gets it from, but it is in the PDF. It doesn't make sense. So I don't understand it. Oh, somebody explain this to me. How can this image not need it? It needs a link. I don't have the image. I can't find it, but it's displaying in the PDF. Over there. There's the PDF. Zoom in. Perfectly fine. Okay. But one more idea. No. Maybe we can say file, place, because there's no more import. I doubt it's gonna work, but anyway. Bam, bam, bam. Okay, so the Bucky branding worked. And if I say open, Bucky branding, bam, missing image. What in the world? So file, place, business card, place. Placing the first image, but I chose the AI file now. Maybe I did that here also. Okay, so let's just lock all these things. What's this? There's the other text words. Cuck. Lock it, lock it. Okay. Zinc. Zinc. Plus. Choose it, choose it, choose it, choose it. File. No, I can't place. Because it's plus an artboard. I also need to plus a layer, I guess. File. Place. I can't anymore. Pump. Zip. Properties, center, is center, file, save. Hallelujah. Delete. Fuck. Seriously. Too much trouble now. So here we have text typing still available. Layers on locky. Don't lock the guides again. Unlocky. What is logo temp? That's the new one. Which looks exactly like the one I just pasted. So where did it's these ones went wrong? That stretchy made those things also bad. It's a temp anyway. Are these ones bad? They don't look the same as that. That could be my preview. kidding me? Did that thing just go somewhere else now? No, it's just a previous thing from nowhere. Why are these things now not millimeters? It is, okay. My bad. They are the height of a, I don't know what. What is the height there? There's info. No, they don't show me info. Boink. What is the new dimension tool? Switch between different dimension types. Okay. Modify dimension, unit, appearance, scale, and more. Okay. Angular dimension. Radial dimension. Line weight. Points. Okay. Extension lines. Don't know what that is. Font family. Never myriad. Maak ons 'n segui. There we go. Not variable. Or is variable the new one? Yes, fine. Leave it. Points. Fine. Share feedback. Well, I want to know where is units, centimeters. Oh. It's usually pixels. But in this case, it must be millimeters. I hope it doesn't change now. Nope. Now, what can info tell me? What's navigate? Is that all? Okay, info. Navigate. There must be more options. Panel options. Nothing. Info. More options. Show options. What does option say? We don't know. What the hell is that? Oh, I'm using that tool. Oh. Wait a minute, what's this thing? Why can't I see what it does? Shit. Sorry. This must be the same as the document I'm using. So say document unit, that's correct. There we go, thank you. Info is giving me nothing. So how do I get rid of that thing there now? So it's gone now. Yes. This tool, does it have a shortcut? Dimension, beta. I want the shortcut, not the thing that tells me what it is. Okay, they're not going to tell me. Okay. Info, you can go over here next to your body properties. Layers, you can come down here to your body artboards. Like it should be. Libraries also. Layers first, then artboards. Layers. Thanks. Can we move all of this a little bit down? Oh, it does do that on its own. Okay. Make some space here for layers. That's good enough. Make it a bit wider here. Okay, so now what was I fighting with? Guides. What guides? Boink. Okay, undo. Boink. Do the S. Ba. Is there a guide now? Yes, that's correct. Anyway, go back to this guy. This is all probably now on layer 5. Great stuff. Guide. Don't show. Show. Don't show. Show. Don't show. Show. Don't show. Don't know where you are. Bye. You guys go to guides. Oh, guides is locked. Go to guides. Thanks. Layer 5. Linked file. Can we say now embed object? Yeah. Embed. Release mask. Ungroup. Nice. Now we've got a thing to work with. What's there? Delete that. Ooh, undo. Control ungroup. Okay, what's there? Delete. Damn. What is this? Undo. 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 Ungroup. There's a path which I do not know what it is. Weird. Unweird. Clip group. Unweird. Oh, I don't have time for this anymore. Vian, I tried. I will come back to your thing. I just can't now.